Support comes from the Wiregrass Archives at Troy University's Dothan campus, identifying and preserving historical documents and photographs for research related to the Wiregrass region. More information at troy.edu/wiregrassarchives.
From Troy Public Radio, this is In Focus, and I'm Carolyn Hutchison. F. Scott and Zelda Fitzgerald were the darlings of the Jazz Age, and they lived for a time in Montgomery. On Saturday, Troy Public Radio and the Fitzgerald Museum on Felder Avenue welcomed Don Noble, host of the Alabama Aloud podcast, and his wife Jennifer Horn, former Poet Laureate of Alabama, for a birthday party and special readings at the museum for all Fitzgerald fans. Maura Martello, president of the museum board, joins us with your invitation. Maura, welcome to Troy Public Radio.
Thank you for having me. I'm very pleased to be here.
Coming up this Saturday, as president of the board, you are rolling out the red carpet and inviting everyone to a special birthday celebration. Can you give us a preview?
Yes, I'd like to invite everybody Saturday from 10 to 3 o'clock. It is Zelda's birthday, July 25th. And we are having an open house as we have every year, and we food and dessert, maybe a birthday cake for Zelda. And we're also doing readings from not only her work, but also some of Scott's.
And of course, Don Noble is a special guest, along with his wife, Jennifer Horn, who is one of Alabama's previous Poet Laureates. But Don Noble is well known for hosting his own podcast, Alabama Aloud. What will they be doing?
He may be reading The Jelly Bean, which is a short story by F. Scott Fitzgerald, one of his earlier stories. And we're reading some of the letters of Scott and Zelda. Zelda, of course, is famous for her letters. She was a beautiful letter writer.
Maura, what fascinated you about the Fitzgeralds, especially Zelda?
So I quoted her in my yearbook. So it's been decades-long obsession with Zelda Fitzgerald. And why? Like most, I read Nancy Milford's biography, Zelda. It had just come out around 1971, I think. That's what set me to be a Zelda fanatic. And I ended up in Montgomery because of her.
A few years ago, you and your husband, John Martello, arrived in Montgomery. What did you find at the museum? Did it meet your expectations as far as artifacts?
Oh, absolutely. I had been down here in 1997 with the F. Scott Fitzgerald Society and had gone to the museum. The artifacts are incredible. We have first editions of The Great Gatsby, of This Side of Paradise, The Beautiful and Damned. We have actual letters written by Scott and Zelda to each other. Paintings. We have 11 original paintings by Zelda. We have clothing. And we also have an exhibit on Scotty Fitzgerald, of course, who lived in Montgomery for the last 10 years of her life. We have dresses owned by her. And we have a few items that belong to Zelda, like her cigarette holder. One thing that we have is a copy of Save Me the Waltz, Zelda's one novel, and it has a inscription from Zelda to her sister Rosalind. Rosalind's nickname was Tootsie. So it reads, "To Tootsie, I hope you enjoy this book. Signed, Zelda." So if there's any Zelda fans, we're open from Thursday through Sunday. Saturday will be a special day, of course, this Saturday. But take a tour. We have docents, or you can be self-guided. And it's a wonderful museum under the direction of Elena Doughton, who's the executive director.
You mentioned Saturday, and that's Alabama Aloud's birthday celebration honoring Zelda Fitzgerald, and you will be part of that. In all of your research, did you find any aspects of her life that surprised you?
The most surprising thing I will say, since I've lived here in Montgomery, is that her final years, which are always presented in a very depressed way by writers, was not in any way like that. She was a very active woman in the last 10 years of her life. She was writing, she was painting, she was giving speeches at Huntington College on the ballet or on her husband. She was a member of Press and Authors Club, which is a very old organization here. And that really did surprise me because all of the authors say that she walked around Montgomery wearing all black clothing. And I came across a whole slew of photographs. In not one photograph is she wearing anything but light summer clothing, blouses and skirts. I mean, it's an absolute lie that she was some distraught figure walking the streets of Montgomery. Maybe lie is too strong a word.
How long did Zelda and Scott live in the Felder house in the early 1930s?
They were there about 6 to 9 months. The Fitzgerald never stayed in one place for longer than a year, and they never owned property anywhere. So it was where they both started to work. Zelda started her book, Save Me the Waltz, in the home here in Montgomery, and Scott was taking notes on Tender as the Night. It's a beautiful museum, and it's the only one dedicated to the literary couple.
Here came a book in 2021 called Stepping Out with Scott and Zelda, a tour through the Fitzgerald's Montgomery. How did your book come about?
When I was going around to bookstores, I noticed there was very little about where they lived and their associations with Montgomery, but nothing on the literary couple, one of the most famous literary couples in America. So I was kind of flabbergasted that there wasn't a book. But New South Books heard my story when I went in to complain, and they said, well, why don't you write it yourself? So I found 31 places and people that are associated with the Fitzgeralds, mostly Zelda, but also Scott. That's how the book came about. And it's still out there on Amazon.
Let's bring this back to this coming Saturday, Alabama Aloud's birthday celebration honoring Zelda Fitzgerald. Give us a quick recap, and do people need to make reservations or just show up?
Show up. We'll be there for you. It's very Southern hospitality. We'll be serving probably hors d'oeuvres and things and cake, but we're also having readings, and I'll be reading from Save Me the Waltz, and I've chosen a section of the book that I hope people will enjoy. So I'm practicing right now to get it right. Zelda, she had an extremely wide vocabulary, a brilliant vocabulary, but I can't wait to do the reading and share Save Me the Waltz with guests.
Zelda Fitzgerald was a talented artist. How much of her art will be on display?
Every room is filled with her art. We have some of her work that she did in Paris and in New York. They're absolutely phenomenal. We have copies of her paper dolls here. Her granddaughter published a book of Zelda's paper dolls, and the New York Times called Zelda a genius. So I'm very excited about that, and I hope that the people of Montgomery and all over the tri-state area come and see these beautiful, beautiful paper dolls. Of course, it's Scott's museum as well. So for Scott fans, there's plenty of books to look at, and we have his Princeton records. But the artwork is scattered throughout the museum.
Well, Mara, it has been delightful to visit with you today, and I want to thank you for the preview of Saturday.
Well, thank you. I always appreciate a conversation with you.
That was Mara Martello, president of the board of the F. Scott and Zelda Fitzgerald Museum in Montgomery. More information can be found at the fitzgeraldmuseum.org website. Thanks for joining us for In Focus, which is a podcast wherever you get your podcasts. And feel free to get in touch at infocus@troy.edu. I'm Carolyn Hutchison, and this is listener-supported Troy Public Radio.